a water-soluble polar drugs, and its molecular weight is 400 to 450. And cephalosporin group have a broader spectrum than the penicillin, and but it is not active against the Enterococci and monocytogenes. If we look at the source, it is obtained from the filamentous fungus, and that is Cephalosporium acrimonium. And three antibiotic isolated from this fungus are cephalosporin N, cephalosporin C, and cephalosporin P. If we look at the chemistry, it has same nucleus as penicillin, but the difference is in the side chains. The central basic nucleus is the same, like 6-aminopenicillinic acid in case of penicillin, but here it is the 7-aminocephalosporinic acid, and it binds with the two side chain, that is R1 group, and second is the R2 group. And by changing these side chains, the nucleus is the same, but by changing this side chain, we can get the different type of cephalosporins. This is the basic cephalosporin nucleus, and it you can see this is the beta-lactam ring, and this is dihydrothiazine group, and this is the R1 side chain, and here is the R2 side chain. So it composed of dihydrothiazine ring, beta-lactam ring, and R1 and R2 side for substitution of the different uh, substitution, and we can get the different type of the cephalosporin with the wide range of antibacterial activity. And this beta-lactam ring is actually responsible for the antibacterial activity, and it also uh, acid instability. It enhances the acid instability, means it is acid labile, and it is destroyed by the acid. And it is also responsible for the hypersensitivity reaction, and this ring is susceptible to the beta-lactamases produced by the bacteria. R1 is at 7 position, and it basically alters the spectrum of activity of the cephalosporin group. And R2 at the 3 position, this basically affect the pharmacokinetic property of the specified cephalosporin. If we, how can we classify cephalosporins? They are classified into 4 generations according to chronological sequence of development and taking into consideration of the antibacterial spectrum and potency. So first generation, it was developed in 1960, and then second generation in 1970, and third generation in 1980 and 1990. Fourth generation was developed in 1998. And as we go from first to third generation, efficacy increases more for gram negative and decreases for gram positive. It means जैसे जैसे आगे हम जनरेशन वाइज जो नई सेफलोस्पोरिन सिंथेसाइज हुई, उनकी जो स्पेक्ट्रम था वो ग्राम पॉजिटिव से एनहांस से ग्राम नेगेटिव की तरफ ज्यादा शिफ्ट हो गया, ठीक है. एंड फोर्थ जनरेशन इज इफेक्टिव फॉर बोथ ग्राम पॉजिटिव एंड ग्राम नेगेटिव, but the third generation is more for gram negative, and the first one is more for gram positive. Now we are discussing the name of first generation of cephalosporins. The cephalosporins of the first generation given by oral routes are cephalexin, cephadine, and cephalosporin. Whereas by parenteral route we can give cephalexin, cephalodidine, and cefapyridine. By both route of administration is the cephadine. The cephadine is the first generation cephalosporin, which can be given by oral route as well as by IV route. Then second generation composed oral cefaclor, ceftriaxone, cefuroxime axityl, and cefaprozil, and loratabib. Whereas for parenteral, second generation includes cefamendol, cefoxetine, cefonicids, ceforanide, and cefprozil. Third generation includes cefixime, cefapodoxime, proxetil, and cefdinir and ceftibuten. These are by oral routes. And parenteral preparations of the third generation cephalosporins are cefotaxime, ceftizoxime, and ceftriaxone, cefoperazone, and ceftizidime. Fourth generation, uh, the more latest generation is includes cefepime and cefpyrone. They are structurally related to cefamycin and are the fermentation products of Streptomyces, and these are cefoxetine, cefmetazole, and cefotetan. And this group is active against the anaerobes. तो ये जो जनरेशन वाइज इसकी क्लासिफिकेशन है यू हैव टू मेमोराइज इट क्योंकि इसमें काफी सारी ड्रग्स हैं एंड ईच ड्रग हैव इट्स ओन एक्टिविटी ओन फार्माकोकाइनेटिक प्रॉपर्टीज एंड ओन टॉक्सिक इफेक्ट्स if we look at the mechanism of action it is the same as penicillin to do in 3 steps. First it binds with the protein binding cephalosporin binding proteins on the cell membrane, and then this inhibits the transpeptidation steps of the cell wall synthesis. And third step, they inactivate the inhibitors of autolytic enzyme of the bacteria. So autolytic enzymes involved for the degradation of the cell wall. And then how they develop the resistance? Same as in the penicillin. Either there is a alteration in the penicillin binding proteins, or especially the staph aureus, which produces the beta lactamases that alter the penicillin binding proteins and develop resistance against the antibiotics. Second way of resistance development by bacteria is production of lactamases and then degradation of beta lactam ring in the cephalosporin. Third is the poor penetration through the membrane. As I have already told you, the gram-negative bacteria have an outer membrane, and so drug cannot penetrate through it directly, but there are porine channel through which the drug can enter into the bacteria. So if these porine channel get mutated, there will be poor penetration through the membrane. Then there is a failure of activation of autolytic enzyme. It means the autolytic enzyme remain inactive and there will be no breakdown of the cell wall. This is the slide showing the basic structure of the cell wall of gram-positive, and here you can see that cell wall composed of multi-layers of peptidoglycans, and the gram-positive have no outer cell wall. Whereas gram-negative, they have a single layer of the peptidoglycan cell wall and outer cell membrane and the inner plasma membrane. So this outer membrane and cell wall make them more stable and more tough and more resistant against the antibiotics. When the drugs affect the bacterial cell wall, they looks like this under the microscope. They become swollen and then rupture. This is the diagram which I have already shown in my yesterday lecture, that basic building material is brought from the cytoplasmic towards that is polysaccharides N-acetylmuramic acid and N-acetylglucosamine by the lipid carrier protein towards the outer side of the cell wall where the cell wall is synthesizing, and the side chain of the N-acetylmuramic acid pentapeptide cross-linked with the glycine amino acids of the staph aureus, and by this there is a cross linkages at the terminal amino acids of the pentapeptide side chain, and this cross linkages is catalyzed by the enzyme transpeptidases. Okay? Beta lactam antibiotics they interfere with the transpeptidation of this cell wall synthesis. Now the spectrum of the first generation, as I have already told you that first generation mostly cover the gram-positive, all the gram-positive cocci, including pneumococci, streptococci, staphylococci, and they also cover the anaerobic cocci like Peptococcus and Peptostreptococcus. Activity against gram-negative organism is poor, and they are ineffective in methicillin-resistant strain of Staph aureus. So basically, this first generation cover the gram-positive, anaerobic, and other cocci. Regarding pharmacokinetic of the first generation, oral peak level reach in 15 to 20 microgram after giving by oral route. So that is the peak level 15 to 20 microgram. One term is MIC, minimum inhibitory concentration. अगर next आगे ये term use होगी तो what is MIC? MIC is actually the lowest concentration of the antibiotic which can inhibit the growth of microorganism in the defined culture media. If we give the first generation cephalosporin by parenteral route after 1 gram of the dose IV, then 90 to 120 microgram per ml can be achieved. And these cephalosporins also get excreted by kidney, just like penicillin, either by glomerular filtration and tubular secretion. Not either, sorry, they excreted both by glomerular filtration and tubular secretions. And dose adjustment is that's why required in case of renal impairment or when the drug is given along with the probenecid, then the dose has to be adjusted because probenecid will prolong the stay of cephalosporin or penicillin in the body. The clinical uses of first generation, they are basically used for the urinary tract infections, minor staphylococcal lesions, minor polymicrobial lesions like cellulitis, and cefazolin parenteral is the drug of choice for surgical prophylaxis. अगर कभी आपने surgical procedure होते देखे हो, तो cefazolin is the drug which is commonly used for the surgical prophylaxis. And these drugs do not cross the blood-brain barrier, so cannot be used for the treatment of meningitis. Then second generation, this is the review of the drug list. जो कि second generation की जो drugs हैं, they are heterogeneous. इनमें बहुत diversity है. Each drug has its own activity, own toxicity and फार्माकोकाइनेटिक. तो थोड़ा सा ये जो टाइप सेकंड जनरेशन है इनमें आपको इंडिविजुअली ड्रग का जो है वो याद करना पड़ता है कि कौन सी ड्रग जो है वो स्पेसिफिक है फॉर सम बैक्टीरिया, यानी स्पेक्ट्रम वाइज भी थोड़ा इनका डिफरेंस है और इनकी जो है एक्टिविटी या इनका जो टॉक्सिक इफेक्ट्स हैं वो भी डिफर करते हैं एक दूसरे के साथ. Spectrum of second generation mainly they includes all the organism which are covered by first generation. It means कि जो first generation ने जितना spectrum cover किया, it is also covered by second generation. And in addition, they includes Klebsiella and H. influenza. But for H. influenza, cefuroxime and cefaclor is the main two drugs which can affect the H. influenza, whereas Bacteroides fragilis is covered by the cefoxitin and cefotitin. It means cefuroxime and cefaclor, which can kill the H. influenza, but will not kill the Bacteroides fragilis. And Bacteroides fragilis will be covered by cefoxitin and cefotitin, and but they will not kill the H. influenza. So there is a variation in their activity against the different bacteria. They are effective against the Enterococcus and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. They are not effective. यानी कि जो second generation है, it is basically the different drugs will kill The gram-negative, especially Klebsiella, H. influenza, and Bacteroides fragilis, which are very notorious to produce the beta-lactam. But even then, they are not effective against Enterococcus and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. They can be given by oral routes, by parenteral routes, either IM and IB, and they again get excreted through kidney, and dose adjustment has to be done in case of kidney problem. Second generation then can be used for the beta-lactamase producing H. influenza or brand Hamila catarrhalis, sinusitis, otitis, bronchitis, mixed anaerobic infections, peritonitis and diverticulitis, uh, which is produced by the anaerobe, and cefuroxime can use in community-acquired pneumonia, and because it can cross the blood-brain barrier as well. अब यहाँ आप फिर देख सकते हैं कि बाकी जो second generation है, that is not crossing the blood-brain barrier like cefuroxime. That's why cefuroxime is the important second generation cephalosporin that can be used in community-acquired pneumonia and meningitis as well. Next, third generations includes cefoperazone, cefotaxime, and ceftazidime, and ceftriaxone, and ceftriaxone, cefixime, and cefpodoxime proxetine, and moxalactam and leftibutane. This third generation has more coverage against the gram-negative, and we will see that they are effective against gram-negative pathogens, which are covered by first and second generation. And in addition to that, they are also active against Citrobacter, Serratia muscens, and Providentia. जो ये तीन माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म है, इनके अगेंस्ट सेकेंड जनरेशन जो थी वो इफेक्टिव नहीं थी. बीटा लैक्टिवेजेस प्रोड्यूसिंग H. influenza and Neisseria are also covered by third generation cephalosporins. Actually, cephalosporin producing mutant strains can emerge during treatment and become resistant. अब even जो third generation है, उसके against भी these cephalosporinase producing bacteria like H. influenza and Providentia, etc., they can develop the resistance against third generation as well. And these have very poor activity against gram-positive, and this third generation can cross the blood-brain barrier. And this is the very advantageous point of the third generation, that it can be used in case of meningitis and pneumococcal and meningococcal meningitis and community-acquired meningitis as well. This cephalosporin is the safer drug, and it replaced the use of penicillin in case of meningitis because it can cross the blood-brain very easily. If we look at the pharmacokinetic of third generation, it distributed to the body fluids and tissues and CSF after injection. The half-life वो भी vary करती है थोड़ी सी, जैसे ceftriaxone has a half-life 7 to 8 hours. It is used along with the azithromycin in gonococcal infection, and in meningitis, its dose can be up to 4 grams even. Cefperazone half-life is 2 hours, and the other cephalosporins of third generation, they have a half-life of 1 to 1.7 hours. And cefixime and cefpodoxime can be given orally, and all excreted by kidney need dose adjustment in renal disease. So mostly जो हैं first, second, and third generation cephalosporins, they are excreted or eliminated from the body through kidney excretion, except cefoperazone and ceftriaxone. ठीक है, ये पॉइंट्स आपने इसलिए याद रखने हैं कि समटाइम जो एमसीक्यूज उठाए जाते हैं वो इसी तरह ही उठाए जाते हैं कि जो अब चूंकि ये वेरी कर रही हैं दो ड्रग्स उनमें से, तो दे कैन बी पुट इन द एमसीक्यूज. Cefoperazone and ceftriaxone, they are excreted through the biliary tract, and then no need of dose adjustment required in kidney impairment. The uses of this third generation is that ceftriaxone is used along with cefixime. These two can be used for the treatment of gonorrhea, and similarly can be used for meningitis caused by Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And ceftriaxone should be given in combination with aminoglycoside. क्योंकि जब आप इनको combine करके देते हैं तो they have a synergistic effect. जो aminoglycoside है, it is a protein synthesis inhibitor, whereas this ceftriaxone is a cell wall inhibitor. If you use in combination in case of serious infection, they have a synergistic effects. Sometimes for the treatment of sepsis of unknown cause, and especially this cefoperazone, especially this third generation, can sometimes also be used as an empirical treatment for the serious infection. And what is empirical treatment? Empirical treatment is that without knowing the susceptible organism or without getting the report of the lab culture, अभी तक आपके पास report नहीं आती, so you can start with the broad spectrum antibiotics. So cephalosporin third generation is one of the group which can be used as an empirical treatment for the unknown severe septicemia. Fourth generation cefepime is an example, and it is the drug which is resistant to the chromosomal beta lactamases. This is the drug which actually resists the lactamases produced by microorganism. Especially there are 3-4 type of lactamases. अगर आप साथ साथ माइक्रोबायोलॉजी पढ़े तो बैक्टीरिया जो हैं different types के like chromosomal beta lactamases, like plasmid beta lactamases and MC lactamases, ये सारी types हैं extended beta lactamases. So cefepime is an example that it is resistant to the chromosomal beta lactamases, क्योंकि इस सबसे ज़्यादा notorious enzyme है. And the spectrum of this fourth generation is Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Pseudomonas aeruginosa third generation cover नहीं करी थी इसको. Here the fourth generation cefepime is also covering this Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Enterobacteria. ये दोनों ही जो हैं बहुत ही resistant किस्म के बैक्टीरिया हैं जिनके against then fourth generation is the effective drug for this type of infection. Staph aureus and Streptococcus pneumonia, H. influenza, that is Haemophilus, Neisseria, and penicillin-resistant Streptococcus and Enterobacter. All these are covered by fourth generation drug, that is cefepime. Because of good spectrum, this drug can be used empirically in patient of febrile neutropenia. The patient who are suffering from the high grade temperature with a very low concentration of their neutrophils. In such type of patient, we can use fourth generation of cephalosporin. Regarding kinetics and the dosage of the fourth generation, half-life is 4 hours and it is mainly excreted by kidneys, has good penetration for CSF, and dose is 5 to 2 gram in 6 hourly. And use of this cefepime is in meningitis and all other indication of and resistant condition of the third generation. जहाँ third generation cephalosporin के against अगर resistant आ गई है of all the indication जो हम अभी पिछली हमने discuss किए हैं, then we can shift to the fourth generation. Now there are development of some new cephalosporins which are, because with the passage of time, even bacteria like Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Enterobacteriaceae, they are starting developing against resistant against the fourth generation as well. For that, new cephalosporins, especially for MRSA, which is methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, which is highly resistant bacteria. For that, there is a ceftaroline fosamin. ये टेरोलिन जो है that I think it bind with the ticoic जो एक ticoic pile या acids होते हैं in the cell wall, and they are this drug is prodrug and their active metabolite is ceftaroline, and their mode of action is that it bind to the penicillin binding protein 2A, which mediates the मैथिसिन रेजिस्टेंस इन स्टैफ ऑरिस। अब आपको पता है कि स्टैफ ऑरिस में जो रेजिस्टेंस आती है दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पेनिसिलिन बाइंडिंग प्रोटीन चेंज। पेनिसिलिन बाइंडिंग प्रोटीन में कोई चेंज होगी बाइंडिंग साइट पर, तो देयर विल बी decrease binding of the cephalosporin or penicillin to this penicillin binding protein. But this drug, ceftaroline, it bind to this penicillin binding protein and then will not be allow the bacteria to develop resistance against it. Okay? It will kill the bacteria. So uses of this ceftaroline in the skin and soft tissue infections and in community acquired pneumonia, and half-life is 3 to 6 hours and it is excreted by the kidney. बाकी इसकी सारी फीचर्स वही हैं जो अदर सेफ्लोस्पोरिन्स के हैं, except that it is used against the MRSA, मैथिसिन रेजिस्टेंट स्टैफ ऑरियस, जो कि नोटोरियस है और जिसके अगेंस्ट बाकी एंटीबायोटिक्स जो हैं वो हेल्पफुल नहीं। Adverse effect, if we look at the adverse effect as a group of the cephalosporin use, we can divide these adverse effects into allergic reactions, toxicity, and consequential effects. Allergic reaction is just like the hypersensitivity reaction as developed by penicillin that can be occur with the use of cephalosporin, like anaphylaxis, pyrexia, skin rashes, nephritis, granulocytopenia, hemolytic anemia. All these are the type of allergies, type 1, 2, 3, 4. Immediate भी हो सकती है और delayed hypersensitivity या allergic reactions भी हो सकते हैं. But frequency of cross allergenicity with penicillin is 5 to 10%. It means if the patient has a history of penicillin sensitivity, then the first generation at least should be avoided in such patient, because there is a chance of developing allergy against cephalosporin of the first generation, and risk is about 5 to 10%. And it should not be, that's why it should not be used in the patient who has a history of anaphylaxis against penicillin. Second, adverse effects produced by the cephalosporin, they are like local irritation at the site of injection, thrombophlebitis in IV injection, renal tubular necrosis can occur. So here, two important adverse effects occur by the cephalosporins, which has in their chemical structure methyl thiotetrazole. There are two third generation cephalosporins, cefoperazone and cefotitan. I think these are second generation cephalosporin. They have a methyl thiotetrazole ring in their structure, and because of this ring, patients sometimes develop hypoprothrombinemia. Because of hypoprothrombinemia, bleeding can occur, blood discharges can occur, and positive Coombs test can sometimes occur in the patient, and impairment of platelet function. All these are due to the presence of methyl thiotetrazole ring. And this is again a very important viva question, and sometimes can be asked in MCQs. Bleeding disorder by affecting vitamin K dependent factors can be treated by giving vitamin K injection along with the cephalosporin. इसको आप क्योंकि ये जो vitamin K dependent factors हैं उनको mainly affect कर रहा होता है, तो you can add the vitamin K injection along with the cephalosporin to prevent this bleeding disorders. एक और जो important इसके साथ adverse effect आता है with the 2 or 3 जो specific हैं, notorious हैं, to produce the disulfiram-like reaction. And I hope you remember what is disulfiram-like reaction. It is actually the reaction in which there is accumulation of aldehyde dehydrogenase or aldehyde. The enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase is blocked by disulfiram drug, and there is increased level of aldehyde which produces severe hypertension, nausea, vomiting, and any drug which produces effects like this called disulfiram-like reaction. The third generation cefamandole and cefoperazone, these are two main cephalosporins which can cause the disulfiram-like reaction, especially when they are ingested with alcohol. So they should not be used with the alcohol or any preparation of drug which have a alcohol in its in its preparations. Third, adverse effect can occur with the use of cephalosporin because it is a broad spectrum antibiotics. Sometimes many second, that is called superinfection. Superinfection is the condition in which many second and third generation cephalosporins are ineffective against the gram-positive organism. So during treatment with these, many drug-resistant organisms and fungi, they may proliferate. इनको आप opportunistic कहते हैं कि वो मौके से फायदा उठा के अपनी growth शुरू कर देते हैं, and they cause superinfection. And usually they make pseudomembrane around the wall, that is called pseudomembranous colitis, and produces severe diarrhea. This superinfection can be treated by vancomycin and ticomycin. Again, this is a MCQs. मैं आपको साथ साथ जो इसे थोड़ा सा हाईलाइट कर रही हूँ कि किस तरह के MCQs आ सकते हैं और वाइवा क्वेश्चन किस तरह के हो सकते हैं. Now the drug interaction with the cephalosporins, nephrotoxicity can be produced by if they are used along with the aminoglycoside, and similarly probenecid, which decreases the tubular secretion. These are the two drug interactions, not so important. And contraindications, it should not be used if history of allergy to the patient, and it is if the patient is already taking sulfonamides and aminoglycosides, then cephalosporin should be avoided because इसमें भी risk होगा कि nephrotoxicity enhance हो जाएगी. So here we have done with the cephalosporins, which is a major group, और wide use है इसका. इसके अलावा it can be asked in viva as well as in the MCQs, but sometime कुछ और से सवाल भी आ जाते हैं, like जो अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे आगे अदर सेल वॉल इनहिबिटर दैट इज vancomycin और फॉस्फोमाइसिन, इस पे भी सवाल जो हैं आए हुए हैं. तो कुछ एग्जामिनर जरा हटके जो सवाल दे रहे होते हैं, तो इसकी किसी भी आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि कोई सिलेक्टिव स्टडी करो. यू हैव टू डन ऑल, ठीक है, आपको सभी पढ़ना है इसके साथ. Other beta lactamases, other beta lactams antibiotics are carbapenems, which includes impenem, meropenem and ertapenem. तो जहाँ हम बीटा लैक्टम एंटीबायोटिक की बात करते हैं वहाँ पे उनके स्ट्रक्चर में बीटा लैक्टम होगा. तो अभी तक हमने पेनिसिलिन और सेफ्लोस्पोरिन डिस्कस किया. एंड थर्ड जो ग्रुप है दैट इज carbapenems and monobactam. Carbapenem includes impenem, meropenem and ertapenem, whereas monobactam includes single drug aztreonam, which is only given by parenteral route, cannot be given by oral route. Impenem is marketed in combination with cilastatin. The reason is cilastatin inhibits the degradation of impenem by renal tubular dipeptidase. अगर हम सिर्फ impenem देंगे तो it will be destroyed by renal tubular peptidase enzyme, which is present in the brush border of the renal tubules. This cilastatin is combined with the impenem. It will prevent this degradation by enzyme, and it is derived from the compound produced by Streptomyces catalea. और स्ट्रक्चर में आप देख सकते हैं बीटा लैक्टम रिंग, थायरोइडिन रिंग. Antimicrobial activity by this carbapenem group is it cover all aerobic, anaerobic, and streptococcal including penicillin resistant streptococcal pneumonia, enterococci, streptococci, listeria, and some of MRSA. And excellent enterobacterial sheet cover, इनके जो उसके अगेंस्ट भी ये बहुत इफेक्टिव है. And most strain of Pseudomonas and also Acinetobacter and Bacillus fragilis are covered by this meropenem. They are not absorbed orally, rapidly hydrolyzed by dipeptidase enzyme, that's why given along with cilastatin. And for that, equal amount of impenem and cilastatin preparation available by the name Primexin. Or we give this by parenteral route 500 milligram IV, and half-life is 1 hour, and this is excreted to the kidney like other cephalosporin and other beta-lactam antibiotics. The side effects with this meropenem are nausea, vomiting, seizure, and hypersensitivity and neurotoxicity. We use this beta-lactam antibiotic for UTI, for lower respiratory infection, intra-abdominal infection, gynecological infection, skin infection, hospital-acquired infection, and in Pseudomonas aeruginosa, impenem should not be used as monotherapy because there is a risk of developing resistant against it. So it should be combined with some aminoglycosides or protein synthesis inhibitors. Important thing is that if you remember the spectrum, you can make the clinical uses. अगर आपको स्पेक्ट्रम याद है तो आपको पता है कि कौन से बैक्टीरिया क्या कॉज करते हैं, तो आप क्लिनिकल यूजेस भी इसी तरह एनालिस्ट कर सकते हैं. Meropenem is a dimethyl carbamyl pyrrolidinal derivative of thenapticin and not destroyed by renal dipeptidase. इसका ये difference है उससे. And same as impenem, less active against gram-positive and active against impenem-resistant Pseudomonas aeruginosa. तो ये इसका main जो है use है. Third drug इस group में जो थी ertapenem, same like impenem, but only it has a half-life, longer half-life than the impenem. Second group was the monobactam, and it includes only single drug, Aztreonam. Aztreonam अगर कभी आपको इत्तेफाक होगा वार्ड में जाने का जहाँ पे प्योरली ग्राम नेगेटिव कवरेज देनी होती है पैरेंटल, स्पेशली इन यूरोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट में अगर आप जाते हैं तो Aztreonam is the drug which is you will see the कि वो बहुत frequently वहाँ पे prescribe हो रही होती है. It is a monocyclic beta-lactam and source is Chromobacterium violaceum, and again mechanism of action is the same as cephalosporin and penicillin, and it is resistant to many lactamases. So जहाँ resistant cases है वहाँ पे फिर हम Aztreonam का use करते हैं. Only active against aerobic gram-negative bacteria. ठीक है, तो इस लाइन को आप अच्छी तरह याद कर लो कि only for aerobic, not anaerobes. ठीक है, anaerobes को बिल्कुल कवर नहीं करती. Aerobic means oxygen has to be provided. So aerobic gram-negative bacteria are covered by Aztreonam, and this Aztreonam has no activity against gram-positive and anaerobes. Regarding its kinetics, as it is given by parental route IM and IB, its half-life is 1.7 hours and excreted unchanged to the kidney. Oral route तो उसका है नहीं क्योंकि ये absorb नहीं होगी, polar drug है और इसको आप सिर्फ parental use करते हैं. Toxic effect, it is a well tolerated, uses aerobic gram-negative infection, उसके against ये जो है either UTI है या कोई और भी infection है तो उसके लिए use होगा. Then beta-lactamase inhibitors. These are the three drugs: clavulanic acid, sulbactam, and tazobactam. We also label them as suicidal inhibitors, and they are again obtained from a fungal source like clavulanic acid. It is obtained from the Streptomyces clavuligerris, and poor intrinsic antimicrobial activity. In these lactamase inhibitor don't have any antimicrobial activity, but only they bind with the beta-lactamase enzyme covalently or irreversibly and protect the other beta-lactamase. That's all. ये इनका main mechanism है. इनकी अपना कोई antimicrobial activity नहीं. ठीक है? So you must have seen preparation of amoxicillin plus clavulanic acid, जो कि augmentin के नाम से आती है. Similarly, ticarcillin plus clavulanic acid, टाइमेंटिन के नाम से ये अवेलेबल होती है. और जितने भी ये नोटोरियस बैक्टीरिया हैं which produces the beta lactamases like Staph aureus, H. influenza, gonococcus, E. coli, you then give amoxicillin in combination with the clavulanic acid. ठीक है, उसमें augmentin फिर आप यूज करवाते हैं, and it is effective orally and for the acute otitis media, sinusitis, animal bite wound, cellulitis, diabetic foot infection, इसमें augmentin फिर आप यूज करवाते हैं. Clavulanic acid plus ticarcillin is combination will extend the spectrum against aerobic gram-negative bacilli, Staph aureus, Bacteroides, but it is not against Pseudomonas species. Sulbactam is similar to clavulanic acid, don't need to be discussed. and tazobactam, which is not commonly used, so इसको भी discuss नहीं करने की जरूरत है. Other cell wall synthesis inhibitor. अब यहाँ पे आप heading जो है वो change होगी. जो अभी तक हमने जो discuss किए they were beta-lactam antibiotics cell wall inhibitors. Now there are some drugs which inhibits the cell wall, but they do not have the beta-lactam ring in the structure. And these are vancomycin, fosfomycin, bacitracin, cycloserine, and daptomycin. Vancomycin is a very important drug as far as clinical use and as far as examination point of view. इस पे भी सवाल आ जाता है. It is obtained from the Streptococcus orientalis, and it is a tricyclic glycopeptide, and it covers against gram-positive MRSA, Streptococcus pyogenes, Bacillus species, especially Bacillus anthracis, Corynebacterium, Actinomyces, and Clostridium species. And all gram-negative bacilli and Mycobacterium are resistant to vancomycin. Vancomycin के against ये resistant develop कर लेते हैं जो जितने भी gram-negative bacilli हैं और जितने भी Mycobacteria हैं. Their mechanism of action is that they आपने जो pentapeptide side chain देखी है इसमें जो amino acids होते हैं DLR last वाले, the DLR terminal of the nascent peptidoglycan pentapeptide side chains and inhibits the transglycosylation. So they prevent the elongation of peptidoglycan side chain and interfere with the cross-linking of the cell wall. They develop resistance against the resistance developed against vancomycin by enterococci called VRE, and the resistance developed by Staph aureus against vancomycin is called VRSA. ठीक है, तो ये vancomycin resistance enterococci, vancomycin resistance Staph aureus, and due to decreased affinity to binding site, ये resistance कैसे develop होती है? Because these bacteria replace the terminal D-ALA by D-lactate. तो D-ALA की जगह वहाँ D-lactate लग जाएगा, and there will be decreased affinity of vancomycin to bind with this terminal terminal amino acids of the side chain जो कि pentapeptide chain. ठीक है, यहाँ आप इसमें देख सकते हैं इस डायग्राम में जो vancomycin आपको दिखाई दे रहा है. It is interfering with the terminal D-ALA. It regarding its pharmacokinetic has poor absorption orally, and it is given mainly then IV but never IM क्योंकि hematoma शायद इससे बन जाता है. Half life is 6 hours and protein binding is 30%, and it is again excreted to the kidney. तो जितनी भी हमारी जो cell wall inhibitors हैं mainly जो majority है it get eliminated through the kidney, and 90% by glomerular filtration and 10% by tubular secretion. यहाँ थोड़ा सा reverse हो गया उसके साथ. जो penicillin था उसका vice versa, 90% by tubular secretion and 10% by glomerular filtration. The uses of this vancomycin, it is available in sterile powder form. It is diluted first and infused in at least 60 minutes. क्योंकि slowly आपने इसको देना होता है. You cannot rush or you cannot inject vancomycin IV stat rapidly. It has to be diluted first and then infused. Why? इसका आप देखेंगे कि इसके साथ sometimes flushing, vasodilation और release of histamine जो है हो जाती है. So that's why it should be infused very slowly in at least 60 minutes. And in meningitis, sometimes dose from normal 30 milligram to 60 milligram. Dose has to be increased in case of meningitis, and peak plasma level should remain below 60 micron. MIC है उसकी 60 माइक्रोग्राम तक मेंटेन रहनी चाहिए. Orally, we give this vancomycin only if we need topical use, and when we need topical use of this vancomycin to cover or to treat the pseudomembranous colitis. क्योंकि जब आप orally देंगे इससे absorb नहीं होना, but it will affect locally on the colon in condition like pseudomembranous colitis and will produce its effect. Okay, but metronidazole is preferred over vancomycin in case of pseudomembranous colitis. But we have a choice कि अगर metronidazole अगर available नहीं है तो then you can give vancomycin. अगर vancomycin available नहीं है तो metronidazole is preferred. It is given in serious infection caused by MRSA, for example, pneumonia, empyema, endocarditis, osteomyelitis, soft tissue abscesses, endocarditis, and penicillin-resistant pneumococci and Corynebacterium species infection. All these are very serious infection जहाँ आप फिर vancomycin को use करवाते हैं. Toxic effect produced by vancomycin are hypersensitivity reaction, macular skin rash, anaphylaxis, phlebitis, chill, rash, fever. All are type of allergic reaction. And if we give the rapidivir infusion, it can cause erythematous or urticaria reaction, flushing, tachycardia, and hypotension. And extreme flushing, sometimes called red man or red neck syndrome, due to direct toxic effect of vancomycin on mast cells and release of histamine. So ये भी एक MCQ question sometimes can be asked and sometimes it can be asked in Viva as well. This vancomycin can sometimes causes auditory impairment, can have a damage to the ear. Ototoxicity can be produced. Nephrotoxicity can occur with the vancomycin. Then ticoplanin है जो कि glycopeptide है and similar to vancomycin. इसको हमें डिटेल नहीं पढ़नी. Bacitracin polypeptide antibiotic because this is a very nephrotoxic. So it is not advisable to use systemically, and it is not used systemically because it is highly nephrotoxic. So it has only topical use, and for dermatological ointment used in infected eczema and infected ulcer. And can be used in suppurative conjunctivitis in the form of eye drops and infected corneal ulcer. Sometimes oral use only in antibiotic-associated diarrhea caused by Clostridium difficile. वहाँ पे भी आपने topical effect लेना है तो आप इसको कुछ दे सकते हैं. Otherwise, it should be avoided. ठीक है? And it is used sometimes by a neurosurgeon to irrigate meninges. उसकी irrigation के लिए आप इसको use कर सकते हैं. लेकिन कोई systemic effect लेने के लिए use नहीं करेंगे. And side effect again very severe nephrotoxicity can be produced by bacitracin. Bacitracin अगर आपने देखा हो कि जो most commonly used derma ointment at house आपने देखा होगा कि जो use होती है that is Polyfex. Polyfex में आप अगर देखें तो combination में bacitracin is there. ठीक है, इसकी composition अगर आप कभी देखो तो bacitracin is present in with the other two antibiotics in Polyfex. फिर phosphomycin है. Phosphomycin की जो एक खास specific जो feature है that it is safe in pregnancy and sometime in the pregnant ladies urinary tract infection is treated with the penicillin group which is a safe, but if it is not responding to that then a single dose of phosphomycin is helpful. आप वो उसका जो है उसको comfortably दे सकते हैं. Its mechanism of action is that it inhibits the cytosolic anol pyruvate transferase जो कि बिल्कुल जो initial step होता है for the formation of N-acetylmuramic acid which is essential precursor molecule for peptidoglycan chain formation, ये उसको inhibit करता है. And it is excreted by kidney. Single dose 3 gram for uncomplicated UTI, safe in pregnancy. So the pregnancy में भी आप use कर सकते हैं in UTI and the other patient as well. Another antibiotic is cell wall inhibitor is cycloserine. Cycloserine is an anti-metabolite. It blocks the incorporation of D-ALA into pentapeptide side chain of peptidoglycan. Okay? And the toxicity by cycloserine is again very specific to the cycloserine is neurotoxicity. Neurotoxicity like seizure, tremor, psychosis can occur with the use of cycloserine, and it is used in the resistant cases of tuberculosis if they develop resistant to the first line drugs. Then second line drug में एक cycloserine भी है जो कि use करवाई जाती है. And cycloserine is also you will study in as an immunopharmacology drug जहाँ के आपने immunosuppressant के तौर पे इसको भी use करवाया जाता है. But here as we are discussing the cell wall inhibitors, there its basic जो mechanism है, it blocks the incorporation of D-ALA, जो कि terminal amino acid है, into the pentapeptide, and side it will interfere with the formation of cell wall by inhibiting this last D-ALA amino acid. इसके अलावा ये दो और जो है नाम इसके दिए हुए आपके, इसको बस आप एक रीडिंग दे लो. नो नीड टू बी डिस्कस. जैसे टेलावेंसिन है एंड डेल्बावेंसिन है एंड ओरिटावेंसिन है. ये टिकोप्लाजिन की डेरिवेटिव है और ये वेंकोमाइसिन की डेरिवेटिव है. बाकी इनकी प्रॉपर्टीज सेम लाइक वेंकोमाइसिन एंड टिकोप्लाजिन. So here I finished my topic cell wall inhibitors, and I hope you have learned something, at least not more, but about 10% of your group with gain कर लिया होगा.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Welcome.
Question number 1 is why cephalosporins cause impairment of platelet function?
Why cephalosporin causes impairment of
Platelet function.
platelet function? I have already told beta in my lecture that the two cephalosporins which